Hey up, Cock, welcome back. We're going to go through our League One predictions for this weekend's games. Starting on Thursday night, actually, we're going to do a watch-along for this. It is Huddersfield versus Bolton. Very big game. This is battle of the underachievers right now. So this is 7th versus 8th at minute. And two of your bigger teams in this division, two of your favourites before the season started, two of your big spenders, and two sides that, despite not being that good, really by their own standards at minute, are, like I've just said, 7th and 8th. It is not the end of the world if you can play really crap, to be honest, in comparison to what your expectation is with Huddersfield and Bolton. If you can play or not get the results like they are doing at minute and still be in and around playoff picture, that just shows where the bottom line is for these two. It goes without saying, doesn't it? I expect more from them both. Especially Bolton with Schumacher. They're playing really good. I think the football that they actually play is probably best in division, but they're just not getting results at minute. Huddersfield a bit iffy. And I make Bolton favourites for this. I'm just going to say it straight away. Because in the bigger games so far, I don't think Huddersfield have pulled any trees up at all. It does seem to me that Huddersfield have got one way of playing, and that's almost it. If they can't control possession and control tempo, they just are not going to win. And against your truly better sides this season that Huddersfield have played so far, because I've had a few, to be fair, which again speaks to the bottom line for them, because they're 7th and they've had a fairly difficult start. They're the only team to have beaten Stevenage, which is really impressive. But they went to Barnsley and got swept aside fairly easily. Same at Bradford, they lost that game as well. Same against Stockport at home, and Stockport had 10 men for a large part of the game. So in the bigger games, Huddersfield have just not done it so far, apart from the Stevenage one. And I expect Bolton to come here and just make it difficult for them. I think they can match them in every area of pitch. And just the experience of Schumacher is what I'm leaning towards here against League Round, who haven't got any. I'm going to go away win, Huddersfield 1, Bolton 2. The first game on Thursday night. I do think it'll be a good game though, and it'll really get gauge with the both at once it's done. Burton and Peterborough. Oh god, it's a relegation 6-pointer, baby. Burton in 20th, Peterborough dead last in 24th. Now a lot of this league is quite level. Points tally wise, like just general standard, I think a lot of it is quite even. But even though there's only 5 places difference here, you are looking at 5 points. That's quite a lot early doers, a point of place difference, especially when they both played 11 and that's it. Peterborough, they do look like they're getting marginally better in recent weeks, but ultimately, I do still think they're crap and that they're going to get relegated. I almost feel sorry for, well, I do feel sorry for him at this point. There's no almost about it. I feel sorry for him because I think even a lot of Peterborough fans almost know that they're doomed with squad level of that team. And Burton, after coming off back with a 3-0 win at home to Bolton, who are 100 times better than what Peterborough are, I think writing's on wall here, really. That being said, Peterborough are going to offer a different game than what Bolton are going to do, aren't they? Bolton want to come and absorb all pressure and just try and play up front foot like they do in every game. Burton obviously didn't let them do that. Peterborough, I think, are going to come and just sort of know what they are. They're going to be underdogging effectively every single game all year, Peterborough, because of level at squad and age at squad. So if they come and just sort of, if they come and defend against Burton, I think Burton will have a bit of trouble trying to break up in a low block because there's not many games that Burton are going to be playing that sort of way. But I don't think Peterborough are that streetwise to do that. I think they'll come and try and play expansive football and get slapped. If they had out about them and they just did go and sit in 10 at back and just try and play on counter-attacks, swallow your pride a little bit because you're doing it away at Burton. But if they understand the situation that they're in, Peterborough, I think they could go here and get something if they just went to defend. But I don't think they're going to. I think they'll go and try and play football and get picked apart really easily because the level of play that they've got is horrendous. Burton 2, Peterborough 0. I think it'll be fairly comfy. Peterborough just go and play how we expect them to. Lincoln and Stevenage. Who would have thought this would be a top 6 clash, eh? Sky have got it on lock, you know. They've had this on at AF12 for ages. Someone knows something. There's no other reason at all, ever, that you'd pick Lincoln versus Stevenage unless you are from the future. No one would pick this fixture to go on Sky. I thought Stevenage would lose at home to Luton in the game before international break. I was obviously proved wrong. Stevenage swept them aside fairly easily and it got Luton manager sacked in Bloomfield. Historically in this fixture, they're both a bit 50-50. There's no one I can even look at and think, well, they've just swept them aside for ages. And I do think because it's at Lincoln that this is a very even game. These are two at best defensive sides in division, definitely. Stevenage are at best. They've only conceded 8 in 10 games so far. And Lincoln at home, apart from the Exeter one, again before international break, where they lost 1-0 to Exeter all teams, they've been very good at home, very solid, scoring a lot of goals. The only game apart from the Exeter one that they've lost so far this season at home is to Chelsea 2-1. It's only 2-1. We got put for chuffing 6 against Brighton. I really don't know what to call here. That being said, Stevenage away are fairly consistent. They lost to Charlton away, who were a championship side in Cup. Lost to Huddersfield, but that's their only loss all season. And that's it. They've got a point away at Mansfield, which really isn't that bad, and they've won everything else. And they've had some hard fixtures in there and all. Blackpool away at start. Port Vale away to win's mental. The bet's Leyton Orient away, who just bet Donny 4-0. So It's a really tough one to call. Part of me thinks Lincoln, because I just can't see Stevenage going forever without losing again. And they're on a really good run of form. And Lincoln lost at home to Exeter last week, so why would I think this? There's somewhat just leaning me towards a Lincoln 1-0. I don't think there'll be loads of goals in this, because I think Stevenage... Well, I said this away at Leyton Orient for him, actually, and they proved me wrong. I thought Stevenage would go there and just try shut up shop. My thinking is the same here, but they obviously didn't do that at Leyton Orient, and it ended up being a free tour. So I'll go Lincoln 1, Stevenage 0. And to be fair, I'd rather have a draw. Blackpool and Wycombe. Is the bounce in effect? Well, at the time we're recording this, there is no bounce because they've not got a manager yet, Blackpool. I know they're looking at Bloomfield, which would be a really good appointment, I think, just based on what he's done against Wycombe. And to be fair, if they get him in, at the time we're recording this, he's not there, but if they get Bloomfield in for his first game and it's at home to Wycombe, I'm giving Blackpool a win. But based on the fact that they've not got him yet, or got anybody yet, I'm leaning towards Wycombe with my Duff. Duff, man. I thought Wycombe offered absolutely nothing against Barnsley. Literally nothing. I thought they were awful start to finish, and then they put it on for the last 5. The squad level is okay. I don't think it's that cracking. They've got some decent players, but the squad's massive, so trying to judge that is its own thing. But then in 2 games after us, they swept Fulham's kids aside, and then they went to Wigan and won 1-0. And Duff, again, come out in an interview and said, we can't pass a football. We're just sort of scraping by at the minute, which is honesty that I think gets you quite far as a manager, and I think that's why he's got another decent League One job here. I think the weight of this fixture does rely on if Bloomfield's there at Blackpool or not in time. And at the minute he's not, so I'm going to lean with Wycombe win, because I just do think they are much better than Blackpool. Blackpool have offered nothing for a while, and the Bettles as well, so I'm just saying that through my gritted teeth. I'm not fuming at all. I think Wycombe win this 2-1, so I'll go in away win. But again, if Bloomfield's there, lean it other way and I'll go Blackpool win. Bradford at home to Barnsley. Will I give Barnsley a loss? I don't think so. Form coming into this, Barnsley have lost 4 and drawn 1 in the last 5 games in all comps. Not good at all, and that's with conceding a boatload and all. That did look like it had changed away at Wycombe. We were 2-0 up with 5 minutes left and inevitably crumbled. But I think some of the injuries that we've got aren't too far away now. We're looking at Gent and Roberts not being too far away, and to be honest, I think they could just slide straight back in once they're back. Now, Bradford had the game at weekend called off for internationals, obviously same as Barnsley. The game before that, Bradford went to Rotherham and drew 2 apiece. And Bradford just weren't clinical enough for my liking. They could have come away from that game with 6 goals easily, because Rotherham were just awful, like truly horrendous. They've had a little bit going forward, Rotherham, that Bradford just didn't deal with, which is something that I wouldn't normally say about them. I think defensively they do look all right most of the time, Bradford. Even though they've scored 20 goals and the top goal scorers, defensively is what I would genuinely look at as a strong point for Bradford. And Middle at Park and just the structure that they've got within and the experience. But they weren't clinical enough. And they were getting it away in dodgy areas against Rotherham, who look awful. Barnsley are going to offer a lot more, you think, in them areas with Phillips, Dunn, McGoldrick, Vickers, Cleary, these type of boys, than what Rotherham will. I don't want it to be a thing where everybody clicks on this video and just knows that I'm going to say Barnsley win, because I've actually just not been like that. I said that we'd draw against Wycombe, and I got that right. I think first game I said we'd draw against Plymouth. I've never said that we'll lose, and that might be a common theme, but just take it as if I put a draw, I probably think we'll lose. However, this is not one of those games. I think with games that suit Barnsley most, because I'm going to look at it and think Barnsley's team is better. The squad is just definitely better. So if we play to our game, we should come here and get something. And the things that we struggle against most are low blocks and teams that just defend against us non-stop. Bradford are not going to do that. Bradford are going to look at us and think, we can beat these. And fair enough, you probably can. But I just think if they're playing to our hands, which is trying to play decent football against us, and we can like pick you off on counter and stuff like this, I think Barnsley win this game. Genuinely. I'm going to go Bradford 1, Barnsley 2. I'm going to go an away win to the Reds. Cardiff and Reading. I do look at this and think Cardiff are heavy favourites to 0, to be honest, just immediately straight off bat. But in recent weeks, Cardiff have been conceding a fair few goals. They've been losing home games. Obviously, they conceded 3 to Leyton, Orient and 1. But I don't think you can get away with the amount that they're conceding in recent weeks, especially in their home games. So, even though I immediately look at this and think 2-0 Cardiff, really, Reading have scored in a lot of games consecutively. It's only Reading away in Cup that they've not scored in, going back to first and second games at season. They've scored in every other game since. So I'm going to give Reading a goal here. But ultimately, I don't see Cardiff losing loads of games at home, in fairness. They have lost 3 out of the last 4 in all comps, and they're conceding a lot. But I don't think it's going to be a consistent problem across a full season. The squad is much better than what Reading's is. Reading have got the odd player that I think could really make something happen. But in Middle at Park is probably Cardiff's strongest area. Somebody like Turnbull in this division's a joke. So the main threat that Reading have got, front middle, in like somebody like Lewis Wing, for example, I think they could nullify that quite easily and just have control at ball, have a lot of possession, control, just dictate the game start to finish Cardiff. So I think they'll win, but it'll be a closer one than people probably think. I'll go Cardiff 1, Reading 0. I think it'll be a bit of a... But Cardiff will be happy with 3 points, isn't it? Donny and Northampton. This is a big game. It's a really important one. I'd say for Donny, more importantly, because they had a really good start. You're looking upwards rather than down at start of the season. But then they've lost 4 out of the last 5 league games. We're not even going all comps here. 4 out of the last 5 league games have been a loss. And the only point that they got were at home to Burton, which again just didn't make cracking. And that's we're playing at Wigan, Wimbledon, Luton away, in fairness, Burton at home and Leyton Orient. So it's not the hardest set of fixtures ever. And they've come out of it with a very crap points tally. Northampton at home is not one that I'd have looked at last week and thought, oh yeah, that's a decent fixture, that, because they've been defensively outstanding, Northampton, in the last like month and a half. But to lose 2-1 at home to Rotherham, I do think takes some doing, because Rotherham are awful. So maybe Donny you've got to look at them as favourites here, aren't you, really? The thing with Donny is, defensively, at start of the season, they were really good. And I thought that is just what a Grant McCann team's going to be like. They're going to be hard to beat. They're going to be in all the games. But the better players, somebody like McGrath, for example, in the last few bits that I've seen him in the last couple of games, he looks lost. They just don't look as good as they did at start of season or towards back end of last season as well. They look like they've lost a bit of the confidence, really, and a bit the mojo's gone, which is going to happen, to be fair, when you get tonked a few times in space for a month. But this is a really good opportunity to change it. And to be honest, I think they will. I don't see loads of goals again, to be fair. A bit similar to the Cardiff Reading game. But I'd probably go Donny 2, Northampton 0. I do think they've got to win this game, really, Donny, to get back on track. Luton and Mansfield. Luton new manager in Jack Wilshere. Immediate bounce. The squad is miles better than what Mansfield's is. I think Mansfield have done all right, to be fair, so far. They're up in 12th. Well, to be fair, it's a really good start. 15 points in 11 games for somebody like Mansfield is really good going. But squad levels, this is just 2 completely different worlds. And at home, against the weaker, lesser sides, I do expect Luton to win effectively every single one of them. The games that they've had so far at home in all comps, Luton, is Wimbledon, Wigan, Barnet, Donny, which they've won all of them. And the 2 that they've lost were to Cardiff and Plymouth. 2 sides that you could think maybe have got a little bit of something in comparison to Luton. Maybe they can give him a bit of a game. Whereas somebody like Mansfield, squad-wise, just cannot. I expect Luton to win this fairly comfortably. I'll go back-to-back for 2-0. 2-0 Luton. Oh, now this ain't an easy one. Plymouth at home to Wimbledon. Plymouth have definitely been turning it around, scoring a lot of goals. After an onking start, they're still in 18th, by the way, which is really poor. But after a really, really poor start, they do look like they're showing something now. It's 5 wins out of the last 7 in all comms. It's much, much better. But that being said, Wimbledon's recent form, 1 draw, 5 wins, all comps. Away from home, Wimbledon have won the last 2, and that were away at Donny and Blackpool. Obviously, Plymouth are a better side than both of these. Across the full season, they've got a better squad than both of these. If Wimbledon go and make it hard for Wimbledon to play their game, can Plymouth dig in and sort of go toe-to-toe with somebody like that? Can they break a low block down? Can they get on top of somebody for a set piece? I doubt it. And can they cope with Stevens on a counter-attack? Is something that I'm really considering, because I think Plymouth defensively do just look poor still. I don't know if I give Plymouth the win here. A lot of it does rely on Tolaj, in fairness, because I do think he's somebody that could just score from anywhere, just like an overhead kick or something. I do think he's just going to be one of them type of lads that just scores such a variety of different goals in so many different games against different teams. So I do think Plymouth score. But I also think that Wimbledon do. I don't see Plymouth keeping a clean sheet. It's just if I think Plymouth have got enough in them really to win this game. So I don't think Wimbledon will go down there and win, regardless of the fact that they've won the last 2 and they've been good recently, Wimbledon. They're up in 5th, to be fair, so they've had a really, really good start. If you'd have looked at 5th and 18th for these 2, you'd have thought it'd been the other way around. I'm going to go draw. I'm going to go Plymouth 1, Wimbledon 1. I do just think Wimbledon aren't bad at all. And you look at Badge, in fact, they'll come up from League 2 as weakest side. You just think they're going to fall off eventually. But having seen these for a full 90 against us, they are no mugs at all. I will go Plymouth 1, Wimbledon 1. Rotherham versus Leyton Orient. I'm going to tell you exactly how this goes. Because Rotherham have won the last 2 games. One were in, like, Mickey Mouse, Papa John, whatever it is, at home to Oldham. They won 3-2. Then they went to Northampton away and won 2-1. This is how it's going to go. Rotherham are going to be high on life. They're going to get an early goal, right? I could see them scoring first 10 minutes. Then they're going to sit back for the entire game, not have one more shot after they get the goal, soak up all the pressure, and Leyton Orient are just going to bombard them shot after shot after shot after shot until eventually Rotherham lose game. So I will go Rotherham 1, Leyton Orient 2. I think if Leyton Orient score first, then Rotherham have got a chance. But the mentality of these boys is absolutely ridiculous for a side that you'd expect to do half decent in Rotherham. So I think Rotherham will start winning, but lose game because they'll just sit back. So I'll go Rotherham 1, Leyton Orient 2. You're welcome in advance. Stockport and Exeter. See, I think Exeter are crap, but then they went to Lincoln and won 1-0. And to be fair, a 1-1 at home to Reading is really crap, in fairness, because Reading are at bottom 4. So Exeter really needed to win that game. But 4 points after the last 2 games is not bad. I just think the results aren't consistent enough for Exeter at the minute. And Stockport, again, to be fair, this is sort of in the same lines of Huddersfield and Bolton. Stockport, I don't think have been that good at all. Not even slightly, in comparison to what we know they can be from last season. But they're on 22 points after 12 games, and they're in 4th. So again, their bottom line is really high. And at home, they've only lost once in all comps, and it was to Bradford. I do think they've had a fairly difficult start with their own fixtures, and this is an easier one you would look at and say, I can't really justify getting extra anything here. I think Stockport at home just will be like they were last season, and we might be looking at this in a couple of months, and the recent home Stockport will just be green, 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 green. I do think they will just sort of stay on that sort of vibe. I don't think they'll lose many, if any more. I'll go Stockport 2-0. I just don't see Exeter offering a great deal going forward, me, personally. And then Wigan versus Port Vale. Wigan have lost 5 out of the last 6 games in all comps and only got a point in other one. Really not good. And Port Vale, after a really poor run of form for quite a while, they ended up going on a really good win streak. And then the last 2 league games, they got a point at home to Northampton, which isn't very good, in fairness. And then they went to Wimbledon away and got a point, which I do think is good. Cole is still on fire. And in the last few games at home, Wigan have lost all 4 of the last 4. They bet Donny 3-0, and then they lost to Salford and all even further back. Got a point of Stockport. Their own form is atrocious, Wigan's. I generally met Port Vale favourites here. I think they're a better side than what Wigan are. I arguably think they've got a better manager, really, in Darren Moore. I think he's so underrated. And parts of that squad and individual players, I think they're quite matched, really. And this is a side that's come up from League 2 versus somebody like Wigan, who spent a decent bit of dosh this summer. I think Port Vale win this 1-0. Wigan just doesn't do enough for me. It feels very all or nothing in a lot of the games. They either go and beat Donny 3-0 or they go and get tonked off Bolton 4-1. 2-0 to Wycombe, 2-0 to Cardiff. There's a lot of games that they're just not in, really. And I don't think this will be one of them. I don't think Port Vale will run away with it. But I could see them winning. I'll go Wigan 0, Port Vale 1. But that is that. Absolute pleasure. Love you all. Kiss. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be doing a watch along for Huddersfield versus Bolton on Thursday night. And then Sunday morning at about 10 o'clock it'll be scheduled. I'll be analysing Barnsley's win away at Bradford. So we'll see you there. Absolute pleasure. Love you all. Kiss. See you in a bit.
I say I'm a man. Yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.